Welcome to Story Route Zero.
This is a podcast where friends gather to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the strange worlds of video games. We often don't know where we're going, but that's half the fun. Come on the journey with us. Hit us up on Twitter at StoryRoute0. You can send us an email at StoryRoute0@gmail.com. That includes questions, concerns, comments, complaints, pet pics. Send us some recipes. Send us some stories about your day. We're going to listen.
Podcast, start your engines. We have liftoff. Let's have a journey.
Pirates, betas, and bad PS Plus games. Oh my. Welcome to episode 89 of Story Route Zero. I'm one of your hosts, Jason, and joining me is Michaela and Moose. How's it
What's
going?
up, party people? It's going. How about you?
Not bad, not bad.
I've had worse Mondays.
Ditto. I've had worse Mondays too.
Yeah.
So, it's good. It's a good day.
But we're here to talk about video games, so. Anyone play anything? It's been a while.
No.
Michaela.
Yeah, it has been a while. So maybe she should go first this time.
So I only played two things, and I'm only really going to talk about one of them because one of the things I played, I did dip into the Stranger of Paradise trial version 2.0, the second demo, which does put you back in the same mission that the first demo took place in, but they've changed some of the features and stuff like that. And I don't know if there was a second mission because after about an hour and seeing how they changed the way you interact with like your party members and stuff like that, I was like, you know what? That's it. I don't want to find out if they did anything else new because I can already tell that this game is going to sing to me. So I'm good with this. I don't need to defeat chaos again. I'll wait till March. But they did make some gameplay tweaks, and the demo did end today. So that was that for Stranger of Paradise. Definitely still has some stuff that's going to get polished in the next, I can't count, 4+ months. So
It's March, right?
yes. So November, December,
6.
January, February. Well,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anyways.
They should probably be going gold in February and then doing whatever.
158 days.
Thank you for doing that. So I turned 28 in 159 days then. But the main thing I played, I didn't have a ton of time last week, but this weekend I did play through the rest of Kena, Bridge of Spirits. I beat it about 45 minutes ago.
Oh,
So,
nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. I enjoyed the game. It's definitely got some things that aren't perfect, but all in all, there's some really heartfelt moments. And I was telling Jason, some of the themes, it's kind of almost like Spiritfarer, dealing with grief and stuff like that. Because obviously Kena is a spirit guide, and what she's doing with these characters that she's interacting with, who are adorable, by the way, is, basically figuring out what their tragedy is and then helping them to resolve their angers, their fears, whatever, to move on with the loved ones who are kind of waiting for them. So I teared up a couple times and it was really cute. Also, it's probably the closest I will ever come to seeing lesbians rendered in a Pixar movie. It's probably the closest we'll all ever see. So that was nice. Game is beautiful. The music is beautiful. I've heard some complaints about the gameplay. I haven't watched the reviews yet. I will now that I finished the game to see exactly what the complaints are, other than it's hard. But
My one complaint, and I'm only about 2 hours in, when you control the camera,
it's inverted.
decides to
Yeah.
say
The
fuck
camera
you.
does some nutty shit.
it's weird. Like, because I think a big issue, and I think I mentioned it to Moose, is it's a mirror image. So you have to, but then it's like it's moving
It's
past you,
inverted.
and you're like,
Even for me who plays inverted, it's inverted of my inverted. It's bizarre what they did with the camera
so it's
for that.
inverted of the inverted of the inverted.
It's inverception.
Inverception. Yeah, there we go.
But I mean the combat itself, a lot of people like were talking about it like it was like Dark Souls on steroids. And I'm like, okay. I went into the first boss fight. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is a bit of a difficulty spike, but if you calm down for a second, it's not that hard. Yes, it may take you 3 tries to beat a boss, but like
my issue with
Dark Souls took you 3 times to take a boss. Yeah.
My issue with the first boss was it seemed to take too long because I didn't know what to do.
I don't know. Have you done a real boss yet?
I did the one who goes into the water.
No, that's a mini boss, my dude. Okay. You have not.
Ruh-roh, Jason.
Well, my issue with that one is I had no idea what to do. Not that he was difficult. I just
that's my next point.
Take too long.
This is going to be a very bad comment from me, as somebody who has never played a Zelda game. The environments strike me, and I have watched a lot of this particular Zelda game. The environments strike me as something that you would find in Breath of the Wild. There's a lot of puzzling, but instead of finding Korok poops, you're finding rots. So there's all these different things that you have to puzzle out in the environments. You have to pick up these statues and put them here. You have to figure out how to get the rot from point A to point B. You have to be able to move like you gain new abilities. So like Jason just got the bow. You get these like squishy bomb things that can shift parts of the environments later on. So it's kind of got those like environment puzzles where it's like, you look at it and you're like, I don't know what to do with that yet. And then you figure it out. The combat and especially the boss fights are much the same. There's usually a trick or a puzzle to it involving one of your newer abilities that you have to figure out what the trick is to the fight. And some of them are a little bit more obtuse than others. And once you figure it out, you're like, oh, that's why this seemed so hard. It's because I'm trying to hammer a square peg into a round hole and I'm being an idiot. And you're like, oh, if I do this, this fight gets a lot easier. Big brain moment. And it's really rewarding.
Big brain on Brad.
Yeah. So when I beat the game, I tweeted something like rolled credits, whatever, beautiful game, heartfelt, really pulled on my heartstrings at certain points. But the combat is a puzzle as much as the environments are, and it rewards you for using and mastering your abilities. So don't just try to like button mash melee your way through something. Usually they're trying to like the puzzles, the environments are puzzles and the boss fights are puzzles. And I found that to be pretty rewarding. Now, not perfect. Like Jason said, there's some weird camera issues with controlling the rot for some of the puzzling stuff you do in the environments. There's also like, especially during the final like end game sequence, I had some trouble with the camera doing some weird shit because I had some of those enemies that, you know how like they'll like fade out and like appear in a different part of the boss arena. They were doing that and the camera didn't know what to do. And then there was just a lot of like visual noise going on. So like my lock on was freaking out. And at one point the camera was like trying to go under the ground. But I'm like, stop it, you're gonna get me killed. And then like I did die.
Please.
Camera, please, no. Camera, don't do a Monday on me. But so there's definitely some like hitches that show the inexperience of the studio. But I all in all, I think it is a beautiful game with some really profound moments. Obviously it's gorgeous. And I found that the gameplay was pretty rewarding. It is a little bit jarring because you go from like this really chill, puzzling at your own pace exploration in the environments to I'm getting my face smashed in by this giant angry man with like a deer mask on. It's like, why are you fucking up my day all of a sudden? So it does go from 0 to 60. And I can see how that might strike people as like, whoa, this game just got a lot harder than it was 5 minutes ago. But as somebody who plays a lot of difficult action-oriented games, I didn't and I played on normal difficulty and it gave me a decent challenge. And to me, I think games should be moderately challenging on the default setting. That's like, to me, what it should be. Hard mode should be very hard. Easy mode should be very, much easier. Normal should be a balance. And that's what I thought it was. I have no desire to replay this game on master difficulty. If I wanted to give myself a concussion, I could just go bang my head against this very nice brick wall I have outside. So I'm not going to do that. But that said, that just means this platinum isn't for me. Doesn't mean the whole game wasn't. So very pretty. I did tear up a few times. And I enjoyed my experience.
Good.
It was about 15 plus hours just doing it at my own pace, 2/3 of the trophies. Yeah.
Nice.
And that's it. I played that demo in Cana.
Nice. Very nice.
Who's next?
I'll go next. I played 3 games. One of them I can't talk about because we'll talk about it next month. A lot of that game. Played a lot of the Curse of the Dead Gods. Still playing it. Played it all day today. And then I did the Battlefield 2042 demo, which has me excited for the game, but I'm gonna wait for them to like fix things. There were a lot of bugs. And granted, it is just a beta, and they're like, this is, this is a beta and not a reflection on the final product. I'm like, I know your games. I've played your games at launch. DICE. Like, I've got, it's probably out there somewhere in Facebook, but I've got videos of where like the game just decided to go like Vice City. Like, it was like purples and greens. And like, I'm like, what is going on? I've disappeared into the ground and because I was prone trying to crawl under a vehicle. And then it was just like,
so clearly you were asking for it.
Right. And then the game just like pushed me through the ground and I could like see like the buildings up through like a clear ground. And I'm like, what is going on? And I had to suicide to get out of it. But anyways, this one didn't have 2042. Also, I played on obviously PS5. Jason and I actually played a little bit. But it didn't have as many problems as previous Battlefield games that I've played, like 3 or 4. From the get-go. Like 4 is fine now. 4 runs perfectly fine now. But there's so much stuff going on that I can see why there's issues. Like the one map they have there, if the match goes on long enough, there's a tornado that shows up. And so you're just like trying to capture points while a tornado's
it's not background art.
It's like right through the battlefield, like literally. You could, like, when you look at the map where you're trying to figure out where to deploy, there's like a twister like icon.
So they went for realism.
Yes. Yeah. So like I sent a picture to Jason, and it's a picture of me looking at the tornado because I'm on like the southernest most part of the map trying to capture a point. And I took a picture of the tornado, and you could see all these little blue dots go around the tornado. And I was like, that's all the people that are like surfing the tornado. I was like, they just decided to deploy and just fly around the tornado, like, which is pretty funny because I mean, if you're on a parachute, it's not really gonna kill you if you can land on your feet. But the classes, I like the improvements to the classes. They're not like the classes from 4, which I'm going to miss, but I also like the fact that like you're not like set in what you can carry. So for example, there's a guy who plays a defensive role and he carries a turret. Basically everybody can either carry an ammo box or a med pack and throw it down, and which is nice. Like those two was the support class was the ammo box, and the assault class was the med kit. And so now anyone can carry those as their secondary piece of equipment. And then it's just their main one that's different. Like the assault guy has a grappling hook so he can scale things faster and get in and cause some chaos. There's the defense guy that has a turret. I don't even know what the recon guy who's the sniper has a droid, a flying drone, I mean. And then the medic, who is technically the support class, she has a stem gun. So you can like shoot at people with the gun and heal them or damage them if they're enemies. And I believe they're the only ones that can revive people. So, which they revamped the reviving, which is nice because you used to have to hold the button. Like, it's nice and it's not nice because you used to just be able to hit the button to revive somebody, and because it would be quicker. Like, you just revive them and they come back with 20 health. You throw down a pack, and then you're able to lay down fire if you need to while they're getting healed. Whereas in this one, you hit it and you're actually standing there charging the defibrillator and then shock them. They come back at full health, but you have to do that long animation to revive them. And it's like, well, I'm taking fire from here. I don't know what enemy's going to come up on me while I'm trying to revive this guy, So it's, I don't know, it's the give and take. But guns were very responsive. I liked the shooting. I also liked the fact that any class could carry any gun. Like, I played mainly the support class, the healer. And I was running around with an assault rifle. I ran around with a sniper rifle. I ran around with an LMG. I didn't do a submachine gun. But then the other cool thing that they changed about the game is you can switch your attachments up on the fly. So, like, I was telling my buddy who I play with, who's looking to get it once he gets a PS5. So, like, I was running across this field to get into a building, to get to the top of the building to see what kind of chaos I could cause. And as I was crossing the field and the parking lot or the concrete to get there, I had like a 3x zoom scope on my gun. And as soon as I got inside, I switched to a close quarter scope. For me to do that, I would have to die and change my loadout while I'm dead before I respawn again. But this just lets you change things like right on the fly from your scope to your barrel, your ammo, and then your foregrip. So what kind, depending on how you want to control the recoil of your gun or whatever. But it's really cool, and it's a beautiful game. Like, it looks really good. I still have to send you those pictures, Jason, where I was like, this perspective is weird because like you'd look at there's a part where there's like a rocket, and basically the rocket, that's part of the environment too. That rocket takes off during the match.
Oh no, I saw that in the match we played.
Yeah. You're just running along, all of a sudden it's like, you're just like, okay. Yeah, you just look and you're like, I still got that guy over there shooting at me, so I can't watch this. But it was weird. Like, it looked like really, really big when it was like on the corner of my screen, but when I turned to look at it, it was like really small and like way out. Like, it was weird. Like, the perspective is weird on the edges of the screen. Like, I've never noticed that in a Battlefield game before. Like I'd be out looking at the corner of the screen, it'd be like, wow, that's really, like, that's a huge building. And then you like turn to look at it, it's like, it goes from like being like maybe like 40 apartments wide down to like 10, So anyways, that's a fun game. It was a joy to play. I played some Metroid Dread because I picked that up Friday because I had leftover money on my GameStop gift card for when I traded in the PS4. So I was like, oh, what better to get than a physical version of Metroid Dread? Because, so bought that, been playing through that. That's a lot of fun. I told Jason he needs to try the turbo on his Pro 2 controller because, like, your DPS, it's significantly better. It's like 3 times better. Like, you'll sit there, like, it's you go from as fast as you can hit the button to just like a steady shot of bullets. Like, it's crazy. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be playing with turbo because I'm too old to sit there and break my thumb trying to rapidly press a button to do damage to something. So I didn't get very far in that. I got pretty much the point where I'm just like going around the map and checking stuff up and checking stuff out and trying to avoid the quote unquote robots on that planet who want to kill you in an instance. So that's a lot of fun. But that's been about it. Yeah, that's all I played.
I also played the beta or demo or whatever of Battlefield, and I'm convinced that I would probably buy Call of Duty. Well, first off, I don't like the modern / future war. I prefer the World War One, II setting. I like that better. I also don't like the large scale. So, I mean, it's impressive what they put in Battlefield, but there's a lot of people playing. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's 128
Yeah. Wow.
people on current gen. So yeah, it's a lot of people.
Also,
playing
and you
it.
know what? I remember this from 5. I don't like the length of the matches. They can last quite some time.
Yeah, this one was 1,750 tickets.
It was like a,
And
it's like a,
it's like a half hour. Like
it's
it's a
at least
solid half hour
yeah.
to get to the end. Now you can like, granted, this is the beta, but when like in Battlefield 4, like they have 500 tickets. They've got, they've got 1,750, they've got 1,000, they've got 750, they got 500. They got the ticket size going all the way down to
Yeah.
like, I think 500. And so those will be like shorter matches. It's just
Yeah.
the fact that the beta was like, this is what you get. But
I played another war game and I regret that. Me and Moose both
oh
got
yeah, that's
together,
right.
played Hell Let Loose, the PlayStation Plus title. I'm reluctant to complain about the PS Plus titles, but I highly recommend you not play this.
If it's bad when you feel like you wasted your money, but you didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
I know they're going for a real
Well,
life simulation. So, like, imagine
yeah.
if you were shipped off to war. Obviously, you're not going to be put in the heart of the battle. You have to hoof it. I don't want to have to hoof it in a video game. You legit run.
It's not running.
For like
You can't tell between walking and running in that game.
for like 2.5, 3 minutes to get to the battle. And if you die on the way,
You gotta go
go
somewhere
back.
else. Yeah.
Um,
It's too realistic. It's trying to be too realistic, I feel.
like there's friendly fire, which is
Mhm.
friendly fire is weird to me in a multiplayer shooter on a large scale because like imagine friendly fire in Battlefield, like there's
Well, there
64
is.
people. Oh, I know, but like
Well, hardcore mode, but yeah.
yeah, but like that's yeah, it's I didn't even finish the first match. I mean, if people like it, they
Yeah.
like it, but I'm just letting you know ahead of time. This is what to expect. Like
It I also like, if it was like a strategic shooter, like maybe like Rainbow Six was, like back in the day where you're like kind of like a SWAT team, like clear,
mhm.
like then friendly fire would be understandable. But like you said, like this is all out war, and I wanted to get inside of a tank because this guy got in a tank and we were going to drive off together, and I couldn't. So I stood on top of the tank. As soon as he took off, I fell off the tank onto the ground and died. And it was like, would you like to quote unquote downvote him or whatever? And I'm like, well, no, it's not his fault I couldn't get in the tank. I just, like it was just it. And I agree with Jason. It's like running for like a minute or two. And then like you get shot from like nowhere. And you're like, I feel if it was a little more forgiving or had like a training type, like a
Yeah,
tutorial
there's a
stage where you could
tutorial.
join.
You start, you're like
Yeah.
in battle.
Yeah. The like spawning, like you can spawn on your squad mates, but it's really weird. It's not like you can't, like in Battlefield, like if me, Jason, and Justin were playing, like I can go down the list and find Jason's name in my squad and be like, I'm going to spawn on Jason. Or, we finish capturing something, I die in the process, and Justin's moving on to something else. I can spawn on him to go help him do that while Jason, hoofs it over there or whatever. But like this, it's very difficult from what I could tell to try and get with your teammates. It lacks the speed, I guess I'm trying to say. Like it lacks the speed of movement, not only movement, but like how to like understand your map and how to get to be with your teammates to make sure things, you guys are coordinating. But
Yeah. Still playing Whoa Dave. It's highly addictive for some reason. I
And it never
started
ends, right?
what?
It never really ends.
Technically you can't win. Like the game ends when you die. So I think I'm technically done with it. I mean, yeah, it's not 100% on trophies, but like I think I beat it in a sense.
Or did it beat you?
Yes. Oh,
The eternal question.
this is deep. That's very. I wasn't planning on going that deep. Yeah.
He said.
I went back to Super Mario Odyssey because I was like,
Ooh,
I was looking at my
nice.
Switch games and you could sort by like last played, and like Super Mario Odyssey was the bottom of the barrel. So I played a few worlds. It's still fun. Mario's one of those franchises I could play almost any of the games, just play a little and just it's sheer joy. It's like childhood, like this is
Mhm.
fun. But then I did get Dread, so I loaded that up. I watched the intro movie, which is quite lengthy. You watch a movie for quite a while.
Yeah.
I took control of Samus, but didn't play much, so I will be diving into that this week. But what I spent most of my time this week was about 20 hours of Far Cry 6, and I'm having a blast with it. Minor complaints. The villain is not really present. Few cutscenes, but not like Far Cry 5 where Joseph was like always there. Anton's kind of, I mean, it makes sense though. He's the dictator. He's El Presidente.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be like just you wouldn't be fighting him like he's a like that would be weird. But it's I they've one up. It's Far Cry. It's more Far Cry. I mean, it's if you go in expecting Far Cry, you're gonna get Far Cry. It's fun. It's do you want to take down a helicopter with an explosive arrow? Far
Do
Cry.
That's basically so in some of the reviews, like some summary, not some as in a few. In some of the reviews that I have watched for the game, the basic tagline is if you like Far Cry and want more Far Cry, you will like Far Cry 6. If you're tired of Far Cry and don't want more Far Cry, skip Far Cry 6. Like
Yeah, I mean they've added.
it is what it sells itself as, and some people seemed a little surprised by that because some people are gamers.
They've added stuff. The way you upgrade is slightly different. There's a focus on types of ammo versus different guns. So like you have soft rounds which do more damage to unarmored, and then you can carry a weapon with then armor piercing rounds to do more for like vehicles and like the elite soldiers. What's nice is you can change your loadout at any time. So typically in Far Cry games, you have to pick a, a set of weapons and you have to be back like at a base to change them out. With this, you have access to your arsenal. You can switch, go to the menu and change guns up at any time you want, which is kind of cool. In a change from 5, you're working with these rebels, so there's more help. Like they'll be on the map more frequently. There's different bases where you can buy stuff from them. They'll give you missions. But it is. I mean, that not to minimize the game, but it is more a Far Cry. Like it's if you want more Far Cry, play this. It's fun. I mean, if you enjoy the Far Cry games, you're gonna have fun with this. Like if you're looking to reinvent the wheel, probably should look at a different franchise. Like
Yeah.
it's a good game. I mean, I know people have had issues, and I know I'm super lucky when it comes to it, but I haven't really had much graphical or
You have
I mean,
like
I've had a
some
few
special
ragdoll.
mojo. You
I've
must
had
have the
some.
best karma.
I've had a few ragdoll instances, but those are actually kind of fun.
My question is, how is the villain? Like, I just based purely on the caliber of actor, Giancarlo Esposito is a very like I've never seen him do something poorly.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
So I'm 20 hours in, but we know how I play games with side quests. So I'm probably only
Piece of candy.
6 or 7 hours story wise. The the second cutscene I've seen of him, he's it's scary how evil he is without being like
That's what he
maniacal.
does.
Like there's no maniacal laughter. It's just like he does something completely straight faced, and you're like, this guy's you don't want to fuck with this guy.
That's he's got this like resting stern face to him that he always pulls off with the various he usually plays villains. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw him something where he wasn't even remotely a bad guy.
I think he's
Mind.
good. I thought the actor who played Joseph in the last one was good. The problem with it's a Far Cry game, they're not the focus. Like it almost steals from his performance because you don't like you could just run around the map blowing shit up, killing wildlife, doing random things, and it kind of takes away from there's no like it doesn't build up. I mean, he's excellent in his role, but it's keep coming back to it, it's just Far Cry game. Like you're not gonna there's no focus, like you don't have to do the
Yeah, that can be said though of pretty much any open world and or sandboxy type of game that has a narrative structure is the pacing can get messed up when you decide to disengage from the critical path, the main story.
there are not so much quality of life, but so your character talks, which is not the norm for
And you
Far
can choose
Cry.
male or female, correct?
Yes, you choose male or female. Um, so you interact with the friendly NPCs a lot, which is kind of cool. And it's not just them giving you a mission. Like there's back and forth. And there's like there's I forgot the song, but if it comes on the radio, you will sing. Your character, like all of a sudden, you're singing in the car.
Nice.
Like it was just like I'm like, where is that the radio? Now you realize your character is singing the song that's on the radio, and you're like, what the? And it was funny
Nice.
because I was escaping from these elite soldiers, and on the radio was "Living La Vida Loca," and I'm like, balls to the wall, driving as fast as I can, and it's on the radio. I'm like, this is hilarious.
That is funny.
Yeah, no, it's more it's more though of they've added a lot. There's a lot of systems which would make it seem like it's a lot to manage, but it's really not. Like everything's accessible. Fast travel's there. Like there's more fast travel than it's not as and then like other Far Cry, you unlock airdrop, so you don't have to. You're all of a sudden in the air, and you can wingsuit it or parachute it to your destination. There's just a lot of extra. There is, and I know PETA has an issue with it. There is cockfighting, but hear me out on this. This is the most ridiculous. I showed Moose. It is a legit fighting game. You enter the menu, you actually, it's like choose your fighter. It looks like a Street Fighter game.
It does.
You get into the fight, there's health bars.
Yeah.
And it's like round one, fight.
Yeah.
Yep. I watched ACG's review for Far Cry 6, and he's like, yes, there is cockfighting in this, but there is so much other graphic, gory shit that happens before you even get here. If this is the hill you're gonna die on, go for
Yeah,
it.
it's not a good hill to try.
You don't reach that point till about 7-8 hours. And like I had shared it on Twitter, I fell and he broke his wrist. And he just goes, ow, and like literally just snaps it back, and it's like, oh, what the
some Resident Evil shit right there.
Yeah, that's not how any of this works. Any of it works.
Well, they've
Some
they've
kid's gonna
actually
break their wrist and just be like, oh, I'm fine. And like a week
so
later,
they've
their parents are
improved
gonna
on
be like, what the fuck?
the healing animation is pretty cool. Like, so one animation, you pull out pliers to pull out a bullet and then bandage yourself, or you take a cigar and like cauterize the wound. It's like, what? This is, it's just a lot of fun. It really is. I mean, I definitely recommend it if you've enjoyed any of the Far Cries. It's just I mean, the one complaint, the villain, he's just not as present as I expected. But that's just the way that it's an open world game, though. I think it's hard if you get freedom right off the bat, it's hard to have him always present. Like, I think
Yeah.
a lot of games where you have that much freedom, how do you make the villain always there? It's not. And I mean, that's really it. I mean, the rest is just what you would expect. I mean,
It's good.
but yeah,
I look forward to playing it.
I look forward to the DLC.
Blood Dragon.
Well, yes, Blood Dragons will be available, but the DLC has you playing as Voss, Joseph Seed, and Pagan. Like, not against them. You're actually playing as the villains in their own episodes, which is
Oh,
kind of cool.
that is cool.
And
That'd be nice.
that was about it.
Nice.
So you mentioned Vice City before, and interesting enough,
Friday.
Rockstar has announced their plans to infinitely delay announcing no. They've announced the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, which is 3, Vice City, and
San Andreas.
San Andreas remastered. I actually saw it today. They're off the digital storefronts, apparently.
Correct. But you will have access to them if you bought them before. I own all 3.
Which makes
And
me think it's going to be soon.
Well, I think they said it's this year.
They did
So
say
I think it's November
2021.
or December. It's got to be, obviously, unless they're like, oh, hey, the last week of October, we're going to throw this out there.
And then I also read that a physical edition is being released.
That's cool.
So we'll see. I mean, those are old games. I mean,
Well, you and I had this conversation in our chat about it. Like, it would be for something like this, like it to be the definitive edition. Like, it's like, okay, well, it has to be better than just putting some polish on the actual games. So I was like, well, maybe it'll be like the games inside the Grand Theft Auto 5 engine. That would be freaking phenomenal if that was it. Because if you go back and they've done like a release in between the release of they've done remaster releases in between the releases of the actual main games in the franchise. And it's been a while since they put a remaster out there.
It's been
And
a while since they
so,
put anything out there. It's been
well,
almost
they
3
don't.
years since Red Dead 2. It'll
True.
be 3 years
Well,
in 2 weeks.
Well, I was mainly talking about Grand Theft Auto because that's
I'm just
almost
thinking
10
Rockstar.
years.
A lot longer if you're going
what
by
you're
GTA
saying.
5.
Yes,
yeah, they
yes.
did
GTA
Manhunt.
5 has been a long time, but they're riding the waves of GTA Online, which is what like that brings up the point. I had the idea like, well, maybe they're making Grand Theft Auto Online separate so that it allows them to be like, we can keep doing stuff with this, but now we can make single player games and then also integrate like stuff from Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 3, like the cars or the, like wear their clothes. Like, it'd be cool running around in the outfit that the dude wore in Grand Theft Auto 3. I think you could get it in Grand Theft Auto 4. Like, if you went to the apartment in New York, you could actually put on his outfit, and I thought that was cool. But I don't know. It'd be nice to at least see some kind of better graphics, even if it was just Grand Theft Auto 4 graphics. Like it would still be better than what they were. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what kind of graphical fidelity it has. I know a lot of people were complaining about them being removed from those online stores because, and I mean, I agree with them, just historical preservation, because it's like once they're removed, you can't get those games anymore. And then who's to say that we're getting the exact same game? Like music wise, a lot of people were, like, well, it won't be the same music because of rights and all that stuff. And like, I get that. So,
My guess though is it's removed because the new versions will just, they don't want, because they did this with the Final Fantasy games because of the pixel remaster. You can't buy the ones that were there. So unless you own them, you can't go and buy the old Final Fantasy one. You have to get the pixel remaster.
This is why I still buy physical.
yeah.
Which actually brings us into the news of pirating.
Oh,
Look,
Jesus
if you're
Christ.
I won't name the publication, you can figure it out. Metroid Dread just came out. We all mentioned it.
Yeah, Friday. It's been
Being
72 hours.
Look, emulation's fine. Emulation's needed for preservation. And Nintendo's one of the worst. Like, how many of us have rebought some of these classics over and over and over again? But for a game that just came out, if you're a Metroid fan, Metroid, oddly enough, has had terrible sales through its history. It's been 19 years since Metroid, the last Metroid. Don't pirate the game. You're not helping anyone. Look, and me and Moose talked about this. Look, if your attitude is fuck Nintendo, fine. Nintendo's done some, they've done some
Shady shit.
They've all done, all the companies. But it's not just, there's a studio behind Metroid Dread. Not
There's
just
people.
There's people. It's just, look.
Emulation certainly has its place. Not for a game that's been out for less than 2 days. And also, like you said, it like the sales, Dread's definitely going to have the best sales of any 2D Metroid game. But it's going to, because there's been such a thirst for it, and it is such a cult following type of franchise that it's poised to blow the fuck up. And this game came out of nowhere while people are waiting for Metroid Prime 4. And it's a good game, like that goes without saying. But also, and we talk about gamers and game journalists all the time, as a major publication outlet, do not tell people to pirate games. You have a social responsibility to not be that much of a fuck up with the kind of platform that you have. Like, how are they not sued out of existence at this point? Because this is not the first time they've pulled shit like this.
And like, I get it. People have emulated Dread. It's in 4K. It's looking gorgeous. But that's one thing. But like, this publication legit called out for supporting pirating. Like, there's a difference there. Like, just support the game.
That's
Like,
kind of, it's kind of
technically-
almost like a news channel on TV telling people, Stop and Shop's kind of pricey, so just go in and steal their shit. You don't have to go through the checkout when you leave. Just, nick some peanut butter. It's fine. They're overcharging.
Like, since emulators have been around, like, I know, technically, if my Switch broke, I can emulate Dread. I own the actual game. So I'm just, I already own it. That's the whole thing with that. But like, when something's readily available, you don't need to pirate it. Come on. And like, just to have someone, like, it's one thing if just some random, or it's on Reddit, like, hey, here's a pirated copy, like, whatever. This is a publication. But that publication has no integrity anyway. So,
and they didn't even just do like, hey, someone on Reddit is already emulating this game in 4K. They said this is a good thing. People should do it.
yeah.
So they didn't just report the news, they injected bias into the news and encouraged illegal behavior that harms, again, people. Games are made by people who have to make a living. And we want these franchises to do well because we are also people who appreciate this art form. So let's not be dicks. Like, basically, it's just like basic human behavior.
It's funny
Like
because
Jason said, it's a reason it's available. It's not like some game that you can't get anywhere anymore, that you can't play anymore, that's not driving revenue anymore. That's not the case. Dicks.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I was just saying, like, so I've been a fan of Metroid since like the first one, and the last Metroid I bought before I bought Dread was Metroid Prime back in 2002 or 2003, and then that was it. And because that was the time I went from owning a GameCube to I started playing WoW in 2005. So I didn't get Metroid Prime 2. I didn't get any other ones. Get a little Metroid Other M. But so it's nice to see the series is still getting some games as a fan, and like a lot of the games that we play, like my game club game, Cave Story Plus, wouldn't play the same way if Metroid wasn't there to like show it, how to do, hey, you need to get this and kind of go back and do this with what your new ability or whatever, or hiding things within plain sight, so I hope it does really well. It's a good game, and it runs well on the Switch. I haven't seen any hiccups or anything, so it's running good. I'm looking forward to getting more game time with it. I'd like to beat it this year, but I think it's cool that this story arc is just the completion of like her entire like story throughout everything. But Jason, I wanted to ask you, like, you said 19 years since the last Metroid? What game are they going off of? Who says that? Because the last
the 2D
one,
side scrolling.
Maybe it was
not Prime.
because the last Metroid Prime 3 was in 2007, or are they trying to say
They're
like
counting Prime as separate. Yeah, 2D.
Okay, so that would be going back to Metroid Fusion. That makes sense, because that's almost next year. Next year, that would be 20 years. Yeah, okay, that does make sense. I thought they meant just like a Metroid game in general, because I was like,
no, they
Jesus.
mean the 2D.
Okay. I was looking like, what? Like, it can't have been 19 years since a Metroid game came out. But I mean, like I said, I'm having a blast with it. So if you listen to this and you like Metroid and you're thinking of getting it, pick it up. It's cool. I just have some reservations about some later gameplay where it's like, I don't know. Like, the whole stealth thing is a little off-putting for me, like right now, like not too much, but you got to avoid the robots that are like trying to kill you. And I'm like, I'm trying to play a Metroid game. I'm not trying to play like fucking Metal Gear Solid, on a frozen tundra or on a planet or something like that. Like, so that's where I might have some issues with it. But other than that, it plays well, looks good. So check it out.
And last but not least, they have confirmed all Nintendo Switch, Nintendo 64 games will run at 60 hertz here and in Europe. There was concern that the European ones were going to run at 50 hertz, which messes with size, and but they have confirmed, so everyone can rejoice.
Also, before we move on from Nintendo, launching the same day as Dread, we should mention the OLED Switch upgrade did drop, and people's reactions have been overwhelmingly positive. Like, I've seen side by side like what the screen looks like, and it's definitely a boost.
Yeah,
I'll admit I am jealous of the kickstand. That's about it. I
I
mean,
mean, the screen looks nice,
yes,
but I
the
don't
screen
play it
looks
in
nice.
handheld
like
enough
the-
to give a shit.
I'm
Personally.
fine with
yeah.
what I have, but the kickstand, not to mention that it's so flimsy on the launch switch.
Yeah,
It's just
the launch
it's
switch
nice
kickstand is
having the
ass.
support.
Yeah.
Like, it
Well,
looks like it should
hopefully
support.
the Switch 2 has that type of kickstand. You
Oh,
know?
you know that they're
Mhm.
taking so many lessons from themselves that whatever
Yeah.
they release next is just
Yeah.
going to be better and better and better.
Better.
Like all of these quality of life improvements that Nintendo is always a little behind the curve with, they do accrue over time eventually.
Really far behind the times. But
Slow and steady.
they do look, it does look really good, but like Michaela, like I don't need one because I play docked a lot of the time. And Jason, do you play more docked now that you kind of have your office set up?
Yeah, now I play docked more.
Yeah, because I know you used to play handheld like all the time, just because it was easy to play your portable. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, if I had to replace it, I would. I'd get an OLED. I wouldn't look for an older model, but like I don't need a new Switch. Like I'm good. And I updated mine when the new SKU came out with like the longer, which was almost twice as long battery life and whatnot. Like I got that version. I'm like, I don't need to upgrade again. I mean, I'm happy for the people that get the OLED and are enjoying it. It looks good, but
There was some other Nintendo news last week.
What?
There was some other Nintendo news last week.
There was?
Yes.
Did me and Moose cover it?
This was announced after Monday. There's a reason I'm smiling and bringing this up.
Well, do tell.
There was a Smash Direct.
Oh, right.
Oh,
right, that thing.
Because we don't care about Smash.
Yes, there was a Smash. There was a Smash Direct. The final character was announced, and it is Sora from Kingdom Hearts. And on top of that news,
Oh yeah, that's true.
all the Kingdom Hearts games will be available on the Switch, but unfortunately, they're cloud versions.
Yes,
Which
but you
I've
know
heard-
what? I'll take it.
I have heard pushback from people who play primarily in handheld and on the go, so I feel that does suck.
Yeah, like we were talking about it, and I brought up that fact. I'm like, what about the people that just play in handheld and aren't under Wi-Fi all the time? Like we majoritarily play under Wi-Fi because like I'm either at home or if I'm at the office, it doesn't really matter. I'm already playing something that's downloaded. So it's like I couldn't play Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2 on my Switch while I'm at the office because I don't have Wi-Fi. And I would not trust my phone doing a hotspot.
Yeah,
But
we talked through all the reasons why they probably went with the cloud version.
yeah,
Getting it on the cart, storage size is going to be an issue. It can definitely handle some of the older ones. It would probably be a pain in the ass to actually adapt KH3 to the Switch because it wasn't like the Switch can run powerful games like Doom and shit, but those were probably planned in advance. This is definitely a post deal thing where they had to work on this for a while. It was probably like, I think Sakurai even talked about it. It was tricky as fuck to get Sora for Smash with all of the Michael Mouse copyright issue, the chokehold that is Disney.
Yeah, and you have to figure it's not just about the physical cart. Could you imagine the massive download?
Yeah.
Because these aren't, it's not KH1, KH2, Birth by Sleep. These are the 1.5, 2.5 remixes where it's all together. Because they're going with the most recent versions of the game that are probably either the PS4 or the PC version, I don't know, of these games that are all packaged together and have been for years and years at this point. So it would be difficult with that. Also, they probably didn't put a ton of developer resources on this because Square Enix does have 8 business units, but it's not like they're not busy. They're probably working on the next Kingdom Hearts, which is not Kingdom Hearts 4. They're working on multiple Final Fantasy projects between the mobile games, FF16, FF14 is still very much ongoing. They've probably got people working on, you've got the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. There's so many. They're probably doing something with Tomb Raider. They've got so many projects at any given time. For across all of their IPs. They probably either outsourced or put a very small team on this. So it was probably resource appropriate for them as well to just be able to even do this period. So they're looking at how can we get it on the Switch, not how can we get it on the Switch for every single person under every single circumstance that they could possibly be using the platform. So it does suck, but it's better than nothing at all. So that's where I stand. And I'm just very happy that, because Sora has been the most requested Smash character for years. And we knew that. Like, they talked about the survey that they ran 6 years ago and just revealed the results now. But every single time there's a Smash Direct, Sora for Smash is the trending hashtag. We know that. And so it felt so good.
Feels good. It's a good bow on the end of things, Like,
yeah. It was sad to see this is the last Smash Ultimate Direct. That's it. Everybody's here now. That's it.
Well, yeah, until they kick off the next game and then do directs for that. So, but
I think Sakurai is going to go have himself a nap. He's going to go.
I would if I was him. I would legit be like, let's take a year off and just freaking relax, and then I'll get back to developing, But I agree. I agree with you.
But if none of this news interests you, guess what?
Dear gamers, it's not all about you.
Bye.
At Story Route Zero, we have some cool friends who do some cool things, and I'd like to tell you about them. Phoenix Overdrive uses the power of games and gamers to help heal sick kids through the charity Extra Life. Phoenix Overdrive fundraises for Children's Miracle Network hospitals all year, every year, and the fund culminates in a 24-hour gaming marathon. Find out more about their events and projects online via Facebook at facebook.com/Phoenix Overdrive or on Twitter and Instagram at PHX_Overdrive. You can also join the Facebook group of Pawn Stars at facebook.com/groups/PO Nation in order to share and discuss all the latest in nerd culture. They've also got a podcast, Nerd Overdrive, which you can see weekly at youtube.com/Phoenix Overdrive. You can also catch it on Facebook Live or twitch.tv/PHX_Overdrive. That podcast is also published on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. You want merch? They got merch. Merch can be ordered from tinyurl.com/PHXODmerch, a portion of which goes to their fundraising efforts. Join the nation and be a hero to sick kids, as El Capitan Ray Osorio, Lee the Maestro, and Becky, the lovely Queen of the Guild, always say, #Rise Above. Thank you for listening to Story Route Zero. We hope you have enjoyed your time here as much as we've enjoyed having you. Once again, questions, concerns, complaints, pictures of pets, or favorite recipes can be sent to storyroute0@gmail.com. You can yell at us on Twitter at StoryRoute0. Rate us and review us on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you may have found us, as it helps with discoverability. If you'd like to hit us up individually, you can find Moose Cool at Sven, that's SVHENN on Twitter, PSN, Instagram, and of course Twitch, streaming games. You can find Jason Marshall writing at obelisk.co. You can also find him on Twitter at GimpyJ with 2 Y's at the end, as well as PSN, Instagram, and Twitch. He also has his own website, whereisthepausebutton.com. You can find Michaela Crescione doing all sorts of writing at obelisk.co, as well as on Twitter at RedXMod. My name is Matthew Keel. You can find me everywhere I'd like to be, at @infinite_rewind. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Twitch, that's PSN, and I also have my own website, infiniterewind.com. Be sure to check us out at all the places. You are always welcome, and you will always have a seat waiting for you on this ride. Thank you for listening, but for now, it's back to the real world for us. So we will see you on the next one.